Hello and welcome to how to transform your CV into a professional one. So many people do confuse with this word whether they should call something as a CV or whether it's a resume. Truly speaking, there is absolutely no difference, but because it is more like resume is more like an American usage and CV will be more like the British English or the Commonwealth countries prefer to call it the CV. But still there can be an understanding like that you have an extended CV or you have a shorter resume, something like that. But it hardly matters because from company to company or from educational institutions to educational institutions, they will call something or the other, and you have to make it in that fashion. Now, first thing first, a CV looks good in LaTeX. So, if you are not aware of this word, so allow me to tell you that it is basically a document formatting system, you can call it, or a software which is freely available. And if you are uh, say preparing your CV in LaTeX, so it is better because usually what we do is that we use Word, right? Because this is usually the thing which we use, and then we convert it to PDF. So the thing is that both can be converted into a PDF, and in fact we should always send a document as a PDF, because if we are sending it online, so it is preferred. The PDF is preferred. I will talk about it a little bit later, that why PDF is preferred. But I will say that if you can prepare your CV in LaTeX, that will be a better option. And it's not a very difficult thing to find on the internet. And usually it is initially becomes a little bit difficult to work with LaTeX. But once you work on it for say a couple of hours or so I think so that you get familiar with why or say how to work on LaTeX, and how to make it more attractive and looks more professional, right? So usually the good books and all these printing things are typeset in LaTeX. So I will prefer that if you are preparing your CV or if you are transforming your CV or resume, so and to give it a professional look, you must try LaTeX. So that is always a very helpful venture. Anyways, so the first thing first, in order to transform your CV into a professional one, the first thing is that you should have a CV, because this is the first thing, because many students come and say that how to transform the CV, and I said that okay, send me your CV and then we will start working on that. And then they say that we do not have a CV. So if you do not have a CV, then you will not be able to transform it, right? So the first thing is that you need to have the CV. So it is a requirement that you should first have a CV, and then we need to transform it into a proper professional look. So in the next part of the lecture, what we will be dealing is that how we should make adequate say changes in the CV so that it looks more professional by nature, and how you can incorporate certain informations and how to make it more consistent so that it looks a better CV. There are a number of websites on internet which teaches you how to prepare CV, and this is not about how to prepare CV, right? So it's not about how we can say prepare the CV, rather than how to transform it, right? So these are a couple of things with which I will like to start with the discussion, because many a times we do have very good informations, or we are say very academically brilliant, but then we do not know how to express it properly. And since this CV or this resume is actually the first packet, right? It is the packaging of you, because like suppose why CV is going to be a very important thing. CV is always going to be a very important thing, because whenever somebody looks at you, they cannot judge you just by your appearance. They judge by your say accolades, right? So now when they go through your CV, it has to be attractive, it has to be very professional by nature, it has to have all the informations which are required, which that person requires, which that firm requires, or which that say educational institution requires. And if you are not able to put them properly at that place, so it will be curtains for you, right? So the first thing is that you should have a very proper CV, and then you need to transform it. So in the next part of the lecture, we will be discussing what are the things which we need to keep in mind when we are transforming our CV into a proper, perfect academic or say professional CV. Welcome back. So let us discuss about the composition of the CV, that what are the things which should be there in the CV. Now, it can differ from template to template, because usually what we do is that we take a template from the internet and then we transform it, because it depends. Like, choosing the template is important, because the kind of information which you will like to put depends on the kind of template, or the kind of information which you have to provide also can be very nicely represented with the help of one kind of template, but may not be possible with another kind of template. So template is going to be important, but still these are certain things which you should keep it in mind, and especially say people who make, or say who prepare their CVs are usually people who are undergrads, right? So initially these are the things which you should remember. Then it depends from person to person as well as from position to position, that how to change those informations, and things which are required more you need to keep them, and the things which are not required you can leave them, and so on. So apart from the basic informations like name, address, email, phone, or mobile numbers, you usually will find that the undergraduate CV will look like that there has to be an objective, right? That this objective specifies certain things. Like suppose you are applying for one company. So what is the objective of that company, or what are the things which that company does? Or suppose you are applying for an academic say institution. So what is that say suppose in a department, so what that department does, what that department is good at. So you need to know about all these things, and once you know about those things, so you can change your objective into something which goes for a symbiosis between you and the department, or the firm, or the company, or whatever you are applying for. So that symbiosis should be something which is coming out very clearly, right? That they need you and you need them as well, or they give you a proper environment and you can say work better over there. So that understanding is something which is coming in the objective part. Then also about your educational qualification. So you usually write about your educational qualification, that where are you, or what you have done till now, or right now you are in which semester, or suppose if you have finished your graduation just now. So the kind of information, so those things. Then AOI is basically the areas of interest. Usually it is required for an academic kind of CV, because if you are applying for an educational institution, a department in some higher educational institution, so they will like to know that what are your areas of interest, right? So you can say that these are my areas of interest, so they will understand that whether this person is suitable for their department or their educational institution or not. Then you can also talk about certain kind of courses which your AOI supports, right? Because if you are having an area of interest and at some place, so the kind of courses which you have done over there, like suppose you have your area of interest in machine learning. So you can always talk about courses like artificial intelligence, or deep learning, or machine learning, or logic for that matter, and so on. That these are the courses which you have taken, discrete mathematics for that matter, right? So those kind of courses, you can always say that these are the courses which I also have taken in my graduation. Some can be compulsory, some can be elective subjects, and so on. So these are ways of telling that, look, I'm interested, right? Because what your CV is going to do is to show them that you have the intent, that you will like to do good in their educational institution. Then you can also talk about online courses these days, because look, this is a very important thing which is coming up. So you can choose courses from say national platforms like NPTEL and SWAYAM to international platforms like Coursera, EDX and so on, and they offer you so many courses and most of them are free, or you can always get a scholarship in that. And this is the need of the hour, that you should do a lot of online courses, because that enhances your CV, and that also talks about that you are very serious, right? So those things you need to do these days a lot. Beforehand it was desirable, now it will become a compulsory requirement, so you should do a lot of online courses. Then you should also talk about the software skills which you have, whether you know C, C++ or Java or so on, because these are also certain kind of informations which the company may require, or the educational institution may require, that okay, you know MATLAB, or you know this, or you know that. So these kind of things are certain things which people put. Then you also talk about your industrial training, your projects, your internships, right? So these are also certain things which tell that a student has not been only associated through the curricula, but rather he or she was also taking a lot of things from a practical aspect, right? Because look, what differentiates you from somebody else is basically these things, because these things will more or less require this remain the same. But suppose you talk about the industrial training, the projects and the internships, or the co-curricular activities and the awards and recognitions which you have won, so they speak volume for your say existence and also of your achievements, right? So you need to indulge, or you need to incorporate this habit that you should participate a lot on all these things, or say on all these fronts, and also you should win accolades in that, because the more you will be engaged, the better human being you will be transforming into, and moreover you will learn a lot, and this will also differentiate you from the rest of the lot. So these are very important things, because if we engage ourselves in things apart from our curricula as well, so we develop as a human being, right? And a company or an educational institution want people who are active. They do not want only passive people, right? That okay, this person will come, he or she will study, or he or she will work, and that's all, because there will be so much of requirements here and there, and these skills actually help you lot with say clearing certain kind of say examinations, or certain kind of say entrances, right? Apart from that, there should be other personal details as well, like your parents, their names, or say sometimes they require certain kind of numbers of yours, right? Whether it can be a PAN number, or whether it can be some other information, or your nationality, your sex or gender, right? And certain other informations they may require. So you can take a template from any of the internet resources, or you can see what is the requirement of that company or that, and you can put those personal details as well. Then there is a requirement of references. Now, what is the reference? References are basically those teachers or those people. Say, suppose you have taken a project in some company, and that person is very impressed with you, with your work, right? So you can put one of the references as a person from outside. Usually the requirement of references is 3. Sometimes it requires they require also 5 references, but usually 3 references are enough. So one of them can be your project guide, or your major project or minor project guide from your university or from your college. The other one can be a person from, say, outside, where you have taken an internship, or you have done a project, or you have gone for an industrial training. Say you went to some company for your industrial training, and from there you completed say a 2-month internship, or say project. So, and that person is ready to say become a reference for you, right? That he or she will like to write a letter of recommendation for you, because because these companies and these educational institutions require a lot of letter of recommendation at the end of the say course. So if he or she is ready to write a letter of recommendation for you, so you can put their name with their names, addresses, emails, and so on. And the thing is that whomever you are making a reference, they should be first contacted and told that, look, I am applying for this or that, so will you like to become my reference? If they give you the nod, then only you should include them, because many a times I have seen that students have just kept say some teacher's name and this and that teacher does not know even that student, or that teacher is not ready to give a letter of recommendation. Now that creates a problem, because you have already provided the name of some teacher or some say project guide here and there, that he or she was my reference, or he or she will be my reference, and when the company or the educational institution has contacted them, they have refused to say reply them, right? So these kind of things should not happen. So therefore it is better that you first take or seek permission from the person whom you are making a reference, and then and that person can always write a letter of recommendation for you, or they can always tell you that, okay, I will do the rest of the things whatever will be required from the administrative front. So those things. Then you will find that in CV there is this something called declaration, right? So they make or they keep declarations that okay, the above information is best to the knowledge of my belief and principles and this and that. You will find all these things, or say datas here and there. So you can pick up those things as well, and it depends again, because these are desirable things. They may not be the part of one template, because template to template there will be differences. So some templates will have objectives, some templates may not have objectives, some templates may not have declaration or something like that. Then you should also have a digital signature in the CV. Till the time you are applying digitally, so you should have a digital signature. There are number of ways in which you can embed a digital signature in your CV. So try to see for yourself, and you will find that digital signatures are available, or you can make digital signatures. Then you also need to put the date, place, and the last update of the CV, because like suppose you have sent a CV say 3 months back and they have not responded, so you can always put more information if something has happened. Or say suppose if you have applied to a company 3 months back or 6 months back, and they see that the last update was 1 year back or something like that, so that also can be seen, and they may ask for another CV. So you should always put a last update somewhere or the other in your CV, so that helps with the clarification. Because you can suppose somebody, when you are getting interview, somebody asks something and you said that okay, this is something which has been done, and he or she will say, but in your CV it is said that it is not done. So you can always say that it was updated on that date, but after that I have done this course, or I have completed that project or something like that. So those things, those smaller things, but these things are important many a times when you are preparing the CV. The first thing which is important when you are making a CV or when you are transforming a CV is to choose a very viable template, because this is a very important thing for all of us to understand, that look, there can be very flashy, very say decorative templates here and there on the internet, or you will find some student CV to be very attractive, and you want that okay, I will also prepare my CV like his CV or her CV. But then you do not have the kind of informations which that person is having, because there can be people who are having more co-curricular activities and achievements, right? Or there can be people who have more online courses than you, or there can be people who have other things to display which you do not have, or you can be the person who is having all the things and those persons were not having. So the thing is that you first need to understand that what is it, or which kind of template I should choose, so that I can display my informations properly. So look, CV building is not something which will be like can be completed say within a fortnight, right? Or usually people do it at the 11th hour. They prepare their CVs in first say in on the last night, right? Or say within an hour or so, because they copy completely the informations from other people and they put the CV. But then that does not display their say abilities or capabilities in a far better fashion. So the thing is that you should choose a proper template, a viable template for yourself. Then you need to also customize it, because look, whatever you will find here and there is something which you for yourself need to customize, because unless you are customizing it, some changes you need to make till the time you feel comfortable that okay, the informations which I wanted are the informations which are now very clearly portrayed in my CV. So These small things, like you need a viable template and you need to customize it, and then you need to execute and check for errors, because these are also certain things which you should be understanding. So this is basically the way in which you choose, because like executing a file or checking for errors is basically a requirement of LaTeX. Maybe in MS Word you will not find that kind of problem, but still you need to always keep on checking that whether there is a spell check, or there is, because we have also talked about spellings and grammars over here, so I will talk about it. But viable template and customized or customizable template is a requirement, and you need to make those small changes which are required. Because look, if every student is having the same kind of template, and like suppose 5 of you, 7 of you from your class have applied to the same company and they all are looking the same, so the company will not feel very good about you, right? Or will not feel very good about any of you. So you need to customize, you need to change in order to make those suitable changes. Anyways, now let us come to the general tips, because these are very important, that when you are transforming your CV, or when you are making that CV standard higher, or you are making it to the professional level, then what are the things which you need to remember? The first thing is that there is a lot of confusion among students, that whether I should put my 10th board examination above my 12th board examination, or I should put my graduation above. So it is always start from the latest, right? So what does it mean? Like whatever you have done in 2020, or suppose your degree is expected in 2021 or 2022 or 2023. So that is something which you should portray first. Like, okay, I have joined this university, and I am in a 3-year, 4-year or 5-year program, and my degree, the expected say date of completion is say 2023. So say from 2019 to 2023, this is my course. So you can talk like that. Then your 12th board will come, then your 10th board will come. No more. You do not require anything later than say your matriculation. But if you are in a higher course, so you can always write say your post-graduation first, then your graduation, then your 12th board, then your 10th board, and so on. So latest is something which should always come first. So whether it is a project, whether it is an internship, whether it is anything, whether it is online courses, whatever, the latest should come above, the rest of the things should follow. So it should always be sorted on the basis of the dates. Okay. The next thing is that you need to use consistent notations, because many times I have found these students are, sometimes they are using this notation, sometimes they are using this notation, sometimes they are using, I do not know what kind of notation, like bracket notation and this and that. Now this is not the right way. First, when you are choosing your template, it will have a kind of notation, and use it consistently. Look, consistency is a virtue, and you need to harbor it. So if you are changing the notations every now and then, say in one of the places you have used say colon, at another place you have used comma, another place you have used the dash or double dash, sometimes even a triple dash, and so on, or dots and something, so it does not give a very good look to the CV as well. Then many people think that they should make very big CVs, long CVs, right? Because they have so much of information. But to tell you frankly, among say during your graduation, post-graduation days, the maximum number of pages which somebody will tolerate, whether it is a company or whether it is an educational institution, is 3. Not more than that, maybe 4, but 3 is the thing. So 2 to 3 pages is the standard. 1 page is too less, 2 is fine, 3 is also fine. From 4 you are like bragging about your say whatever things, huh? So those things also you need to keep in your mind, because look, we should not brag, we should not extend, we should not give them a very say data which is like extrapolated data or something like that. We should keep it simple, and we should keep it precise, so that whoever is looking at the CV is getting the proper highlighted selected information about us, and that is something which he or she is looking for as well. Okay, so those things you should keep in mind. Then you should definitely highlight your achievement, and that too on your first page. Try to make your first page very, very attractive, or something which is more information oriented, or which is having a lot of highlights of your career and so on, because that will give very good tinge to your CV. You need to also see that the format of the first page, the second page, the third page are exactly the same, right? You cannot make it like the first page format was in one way, the second page format is in different way, and so on. The format has to be consistently followed, and they should look more or less the same. So you should also talk about the page gapping and the spacing and so on. All these things you need to take care. In LaTeX and all, it is easier because it in the inbuilt system does a lot of say soul searching over there and makes things far better. Similarly, there is one problem which I have found in a lot of CVs is that the heading starts on one page and the content goes on another page. Now this cannot take place. The heading and the content should always be on the same page. Like suppose you are talking about your projects, right? So your project started on the first page, but then it went on to the second page. Or you are talking about your, say, co-curricular activity. So it started on one page, it went to another page. Don't do that. Don't do that, because that provides a gap. So you can, that is why we call that you need to customize your template. So in your template, it was not possible to put in one page, so you were going to the second page. So have a divider, make it into 3 columns or something like that, so that you can put the informations properly. So these smaller changes you need to make, because that will also give a new look to your CV and will also put the informations right there. Then it is now becoming mandatory that you should put page numbers, because during offline days, many a times it happened that the CV came and the second page was missing, right? So there were 3 pages, the second page was missing. Either the printout was not has not come properly, or these the stapled pages have run here and there or flown, and I saw only 2 pages, and it looked so miserable that nobody accepted that this person can be even called for the interview, or even called for say even giving a rectification, or say tell us that why this CV is so bad, because they said, oh, a very uninterested person. So those things should not happen as well. So if you are putting page numbers, so they can always see that if there is a page is missing, or so on. And moreover, it is also easy to point out, like, okay, on page number 2 you have written something like that, so what is your take on this point, right? And something like that. So page numbers are very, very important these days, and you should always have page numbers in your CV. Then the spacing and the paragraphing, this is also something which is important, that you can always put a check on the internet, or you can check it with the Word, you can check it with the LaTeX as well, that whether the spacing is proper. Because if there are more, if the spaces are, say, haphazard, so the CV also loses its touch. It does not look good. And moreover, it is not going to be a very favorable thing for you, because the person who is looking at your CV or is planning to judge you will not find it a good thing that your CV is not properly paragraphed or is not properly having the spaces. Spellings and grammar, as I told you, that it's going to be damn important, right? So you should go for a spell check, you should always go for a grammar check, because look, you have good information, you have done all the hard work, and then because of spelling mistakes, because of grammar, your CV was rejected, and they have not asked for any corrections from you as well, is going to be curtains again. So that is the idea, that make your CV good and make it count as well. So do not end up with spellings and grammar mistakes, right? And last but not the least, and this is something which I will like to tell to people who are using Word, because mostly many of you will be making it in the Word. Never send a CV or resume in Word file. First thing, that it can be edited. Anything can be edited for that matter. Nowadays PDFs can be edited and so on, and they can always change the information whatsoever. Second thing is, and if you do not know, the Word file which opens in your computer is not exactly the same the Word file which will open in my computer, because I have a different setting for Word file, you have a different setting for Word file, so they open differently. Similarly, some fonts may not be available in my computer but were available in your computer, and you prepared the CV in your computer, so it was visible in my computer. It will look like this. they will always look like this, right? So because the font is not something which is recognizable by my system, so it will look like this, and I'll say the CV is not proper. So if it is a LaTeX thing, so it has to go in PDF, because the generated file will always be in PDF. But if it is in MS Word, so turn it into PDF. Check for yourself that whether the Word file which you turned into a PDF exactly looks the same, right? And if it looks the same and you are confirmed and you are, say, happy with the look of that, then only send it. Because these are smaller mistakes which people have done so many times, and therefore I'm telling you guys that has become a problem for them. They were at their last say attempts, they did all the things well, but then they sent certain files and certain small mistakes like this, which ended up taking them nowhere, right? Even if they could have been there, they could have been somewhere, at least they were nowhere. So these things, these small things which you should keep in mind, and in some part of this say series, we will also talk about exactly how the CV is made or how the CV should look. And there we can also talk about that what are the things or contents. I will also share with you a lot of CVs which looks very professional or which looks very academic by nature. But right now, these are the things which you should keep in mind when you are transforming your CV. And right now, nobody is applying for something, at least at this juncture. So the thing is that you keep these things in mind and you keep transforming your CV. Change your CV every day. Put some new information. Think about it, because that will make that document beautiful, that will make that document more acceptable, right? So start changing your CV from today.